Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. And we have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's going to be none other than Aerys taking on Zena, the random cheesy bot. Well, if I had to guess this game, it's probably going to be a little random and cheesy. And so, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this video, make sure to go ahead, click that like button if you haven't already, leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches, and then subscribe if you're not presently subscribed. Yes, these bot games are always interesting to see the dynamics. I honestly think we don't get enough mirror matchups in the bot games just because, like, it's so cool to compare and contrast, like, what each bot does, what approach each bot author takes. And yeah, we'll just see, as Aerys is playing it nice and standard with a pool into a hatchery. Zena, meanwhile, it does have some more nefarious intent as it goes for a Roach Warren on the way. And yeah, that queen on the way already, so it will be able to produce as much larva as possible off this crazy one base rush that it's building towards. Second gas is being taken. And then we do have, yeah, just Aerys sending out an Overlord scout towards the natural base of Zena. There is no third base started for Aerys yet. It's going for a drone scout, looking for proxies, that kind of thing. No proxies, just straight up rushes in this game. And we'll see how long it takes Aerys to react to this, as those roaches are already going to be on the way. And that's not going to be a lot of time left for Aerys to react, because the roaches are popping out, and they are going to be crossing the map already. Now, we do have a drone get seen, as Aerys is like, hey, Zena's totally expanding, right? Nope. As it does see this just starting expansion, but also sees the roaches, so alarm bells are going off at home for Aerys. Programming in order to handle this kind of rush is kicking in, and so we get two spine crawlers. Aerys going for its own Roach Warren. Now Zena is crossing the map with its roaches, presently at 3, with more on the way. It's going to be a long time before Aerys's roaches are done, or like none have even started yet. Weirdly enough, Aerys does try and squeeze out a third base in the face of this aggression. So Zena's coming on in. There is two spine crawlers. Looks like they will just finish in time. The Ling is kind of distracting the roaches a little bit. That's actually quite nice for Aerys, as Zena really needs to get something done. It does have burrow, so it can walk into these spines, take some shots, burrow the roaches. Aerys actually elects to cancel its third base, maybe upon seeing just how much supply the opponent has. As this Ling, it's just such good programming from Aerys. The Ling that will pretty much never be caught, as soon as those roaches get too close, it runs away at the last moment. Very tricky. And that is keeping Zena a little occupied. I'm not sure that's the reason why Zena isn't attacking, but it's definitely good here. As, yeah, Aerys is now producing up its own roaches. Its own burrow is on the way. And so I think it's going to just be a solid defense from Aerys. Now, the worker count is quite close in this match, 21 to 25. Both bots are only on 2 bases, so it's not like there's some ginormous economic advantage from Aerys. There is a chance Zena could play this one out, although it does seem like the Blue Zerg has got up the confidence to go for an attack. Roach is chasing down that drone and then going to try and breach the front. Neither bot has detection presently. Aerys is building a spine crawler, or a spore crawler, pardon me, at its front door to act as detection. Zena can burrow some of these roaches to keep them alive, but it's not. Maybe because it sees that spine crawler or something. And yeah, so let's see. A queen goes down, but Aerys can keep its units alive as long as it wants. Zena kind of taking a leaf out of Aerys's book, in the sense that it wants spore crawlers for its own detection. That really is the only option early game ZVZ. And then Zena just goes on home, starts firing up some drones, And we may have a bit of a macro transition on our hands. Aerys is trying to pad this Overlord to get some info. Looks like it wants to try and make it to that high ground spot, but that is not a safe space. Now, Zena is going to try and attack on in again. It's already lost 2 roaches, though, so it does need to be careful. I think best case scenario for the blue Zerg would be to maybe hit that 3rd base, but I'm not sure that will happen. The Queen did get the 1 Overlord kill. This other Overlord shall be safe for now. Maybe as that creep pushes out, so shall the Queen. And then we've got this 1 scouting ling being a nuisance still. Roaches may try and catch that, but it shall never happen, as that ling just pads on out of there. Aerys does have a base lead compared to its opponent, although we are seeing a lair be produced from both of these bots, so there is potential for higher tech later on. The Queen does find this Overlord, so Zena is getting a nice little pick off here and there. For now, though, Aerys does have a nice economic lead, 37 workers to 28. And as time goes on, this does look a little bit troublesome from Zena, although you can never underestimate the power of simply trying to build more roaches than your opponent. As Zena is at 23, Aerys doesn't really have a clear view on how much supply its opponent has, so who knows how hard it's going to macro behind this. As, let's see, that roach grabs the ling, finally caught thanks to high ground vision. And Zena has got two Evo chambers on the way. That lair about to finish up, so I'm curious, what are we going to see? It looks like +1 attack. Will we get Carapace as well? Tunneling or glial reconstitution prior to that, as Zena is just trying to make something happen on 2 bases here. Moving across the map, 26 roaches to 18. Still, though, no detection for Zena until we potentially see an Overseer made, or there actually is one. Okay, it's crossing the map, but it's not done yet, so Zena probably wants to go home, and it does. I mean, Zena is leading the upgrades. Aerys is potentially building towards a counterattack, or just trying to spend its resources, as it's got a lot of minerals, or it had a lot of minerals before it built this hatchery and 20-odd slow lings. Zena still just powering up on 2 bases. There is a world in which it just builds up enough roaches, takes a good enough fight with 1-1 upgrades done that it can win this game. I mean, having speed on the roaches before your opponent is a big deal. Aerys is getting out more drones, trying to get out a 4th base, pardon me. So many drones are on the way, and Zena is just building roaches. So even bots sometimes are a little greedy, and this may come back to bite the red Zerg, as it will lose a queen out on the map. Some creep being cleaned on up. Xena is moving forward. It does have to dodge corrosive biles. Now roaches are coming on in, looking to start a fight. This is prior to the 1-1 upgrades being done, though, so a bit of an anti-timing from the blue Zerg. A pretty good concave. Look at all those clicks, though, on the ground. Xena is moving forward, grabs a Ravager, and now what's it working on? The spines. Some lings are coming in from Aerys to help out. The roach count is currently 21 to 31. Xena will have an advantage in just 10 seconds once that +1 attack is done. But I mean, Xena's losing roaches. Aerys is keeping all of its roaches alive and burrowed in the ground. And so this attack does not really work out. Where's the Overseer for Xena? The answer is it's kind of glitching out, being pulled in multiple directions, it would seem. The +1 does finish for Xena. However, I'm not sure it's enough to make a difference. Those roaches, they can't be burrowed, as Aerys has its own Overseers. And so while Xena potentially had the makings of a good attack, it just did not come together. That Overseer really dropped the ball, not helping with that. And now Xena has to overcome an opponent that's got literally double the economy. I mean, just a higher army supply as well. The roach count, like, okay, it's reasonably close, but still definitely not good, and I'm not sure that's going to get any better as time goes on, as Aerys is just an absolute monster like that. And then, yeah, Xena, it is really interesting, the fact that it's going to have such an upgrade lead, 2-2 on the way, whereas Aerys just has +1 on the way. But, like, does it really matter when your opponent outnumbers you to such an extreme degree? Probably not. So maybe Xena would have benefited from just trying to slow things down a bit, take a 3rd base in this game. But that's really not Xena's style. We'll see if it can make a nice last stand happen here, though, as it's going to have to fight off 49 roaches with its 35. It does currently still have 1-1 upgrade leads. There is a Spore Crawler and an Overseer. So Aerys is trying to push in. It's a really nice concave from Zena. Zena's pulling its few drones into the fight, which is not what we want to see. A lot of the roaches actually burrow for Zena. Like, I'm not sure they all should have been burrowing. The Overseer for Aerys rolls on up, though. And the red Zerg is just pushing on in, having the absolute lead in the numbers. The 2-2 is too late, and Aerys is going to take this one, I think. A very cool final engagement, but not a lot of red roaches dying. And now Aerys has got its +1 attack, and the 2-2, yeah, is not done in time. And yeah, Aerys takes down the natural base, and Zena is just losing all its roaches, so very well done. There's a reason why we don't see a ton of mirror matchups with the top bots, and that's because Aerys tends to kind of just roll a lot of the other Zerg bots, as it's just that darn good. And yeah, Aerys now saying Overseer sweep. Gonna check out the map. And yeah, this is the time where I reveal that this is going to be a multi-part video, ladies and gentlemen, so I'll go ahead and load into that next game at the end of this one. All right, and continuing on the series of random games that I have saved on my desktop that have been there for a little bit, we're going to check out this game. It is Mulebot going to be taking on Zig-Spudde. Zig-Spudde, a newer bot on the scene. And I can go ahead and pull up their descriptions. I know the video can lag a little bit when I tab out. I did actually look into trying to fix that. The answer is not clear, though, as far as I'm aware. That's just the price we pay with alt tabbing. And yeah, hold on, the website's just being a little slow, but okay, Mulebot does go for this little bit of a proxy. A couple of racks going on down, and let me just pull up that Zig-Spudde bot and see what the good word is, as it's got actually no description. Written by Spud, created August 20th, 2022. And yeah, not a lot of details on it. There's also a bot called Spud. I'm not sure what the difference is between Zig-Spudde and Spud, but I don't know, maybe they just like potatoes. That's the main takeaway here, as Mulebot does go for this cheeky proxy. And yeah, Zig-Spudde is quite unprepared for this, as it does have one rack's about to finish up, a factory on the way, and this proxy is looking quite dirty from Mulebot. Maybe Zig-Spudde will do something smart, like get a bunker or something like that. But for now, I look at this game and I think, oh no, Zig-Spudde could be having a bad time here. There is going to be a wall on that high ground. A reactor's on the way. Unfortunately, they do take a long time to build. Mulebot goes for a bunker on the low ground, so maybe just going for like a delay on its opponent's base instead of just going right for the throat, which you'd want to do with a build like this. But denying expansions with bunkers in bot games can be very, very strong. So Mulebot goes for not one, but 2 bunkers at its opponent's base. And then we do have that bunker done, so it's just going to be a crazy hard contain. Now, that is an interesting strategy, because if Mulebot had just attacked, it probably would have just won the game. Instead, it's setting us up for a longer match with a tank on the way for Zig-Spudde, which is just the dream answer when it comes to being bunker contained. So, yeah, Mulebot not going for the kill, maybe punished a little bit. The Red Terran is building SCVs behind this. We'll see if it does get a gas or a factory, something like that, or if it will just keep building Marines. I imagine there eventually will have to be an attack of some sort with these Marines as they all pop out of the bunker. And yeah, just 3 Marines at a time. There's a tank on the high ground for Zig-Spudde. It's placed at quite a nice distance behind this wall, so if the depot's raised and the Marines try and dive on it, it will just be an absolute killing ground. Now, Mulebot, it's got another SCV moving out, 400 minerals in the bank. Maybe we'll be seeing a nice expo get thrown down. And yeah, where's that SCV going? Is it going to build an expansion over here? Mulebot definitely knows chaos a little bit, as we do get an expo in the upper right location of the map, because why not? We get an eBay on the way as well, which is curious. Will it be a planetary? Will it be for turrets? As Mulebot just continues to bolster this contained. Zig-Spudde is just doing its one base thing. But now the Blue Terran is looking to move on out. Mulebot and Zig-Spudde are going to sort of see each other's armies for the first time. Mulebot does load in to its bunkers. The tanks of Zig-Spudde are unsieged, and now they're sieging up just out of range of those bunkers. So that's good behavior there. Mulebot will have to try and repair that. And the repair should be good for a while, although Marines pop out of the bunker. They do eat some Liberator shots. The Liberator sieging up around the bunker was going to secure those SCV kills. However, the bunkers actually were in range to kill the Liberator, which is not great. And so Mulebot kind of just having its money be spent. We'll see if Zig-Spudde eventually moves forward. It is important to note that bots cannot easily tell whether a bunker is full or not. However, now that more than one tank is firing, this bunker will indeed fall. Mulebot has produced a lot more Marines. Looks like they are going to just go for it and attack on in. Now, there's plenty of Marines for Zig-Spudde, though plenty of tanks. And Mulebot's strategy is not working out all that great. The Red Terran bot does have a Marauder on the way. It's getting some further tech, it seems. A turret on the way at the back of its base. And the bunker will get cleaned up. So the question is Zig-Spudde going to go the far, far distance across the map to try and punish Mulebot? We do get a scan into Mulebot's main base. Mulebot's also mining gas, double scan from Zig-Spudde. Mulebot's mining gas, but we've yet to see, say, a factory. There's a factory on the way. It is at the other base, so it might not be straightforward for Zig-Spudde to potentially kill Mulebot in this match. And let's see, these racks are now being sieged up on, as that's a lot of the production of Mulebot. In fact, it's literally all the production of Mulebot, which just has like a Marauder back at home, getting another command center on the way. The racks are going to buy time for the Red Terran bot. Meanwhile, Zig-Spudde is kind of just doing its thing, getting up an extra racks, pumping out units. 111 can be pretty strong, although, I mean, it is going up to 3 racks, so... But anyway, one basing Terran can be quite strong. An attempt at getting upgrades at that add-on does get shut down. It immediately starts at the next racks, which is good redundancy. Just unfortunately, it is a racks that is still in danger. There is more barracks building back at home for Mulebot, though, so that's good to see. The redundancy of Mulebot really is quite impressive. It goes for all these crazy, fun-to-watch builds, but then it does seem to be able to follow them up with macro regardless, which is impressive. And let's see, will it be able to defend against what is a ginormous Blue Terran army? Zig-Spudde is seemingly going to go for it. Now, Mulebot, it's going to have some ground to burn with 3 bases. It's producing a siege tank. That tank is being built at the base at the far right, since that's where the factory is. Another command center is being built for Mulebot, and Zig-Spudde is a little slow to get across the map. It's got some interesting pathing logic. The Liberator's sort of flying like a dragon almost, sort of waving in the wind. And now the Blue Terran is moving forward. Mulebot was looking to go for yet another expansion, just trying to out-expand death. As the Blue Terran rolls on up here, one Marine cannot take on all those Liberators. This tank is not sieged for Mulebot. It may want to siege soon, as it looks like it will take down a tank of Zig-Spudde. But I think the question in this game is going to be whether Mulebot can actually just not be found or have so many bases that Zig-Spudde fails to kill it. As the Red Terran is kind of just rallying out the odd Marine here and there. Now, Zig-Spudde has yet to expand, so it may just be a one-basing bot, and that does mean that there's only a certain amount of resources for the Red Terran, or for the Blue Terran, pardon me, even if Mulebot trades poorly. Maybe it can drag this game out long enough that its opponent runs out of steam. There's many cases in which a bot fails to end a game because it's not that straightforward to program cleaning up a base or that kind of thing. Somehow Mulebot ended up with a decent number of Marines. This command center is being shot at. It's not lifting up. It canceled the orbital, weirdly enough, but then it didn't lift off, so it must have missed the memo. As that command center dies, there's still 3 bases for Mulebot. More Marines being produced. And there is a tank sieged at the back here, getting some shots off. So Zig-Spudde will lose a good chunk of its units. Mulebot says, of course, I need a Ghost Academy. What else would I build at this point in the game? And yeah, Zig-Spudde is just not able to get there to kill its opponent just yet. And the blue Terran bot is starting to run out of money. And there is a world in which Mulebot wins this game. It's building 6 Marines at a time. I mean, it's losing a horrendous amount of them, 1 by 1. But, like, it's killed 29 of its opponent's Marines. It's killed a tank. Now, this natural base is being worked on. Turret will actually kill a Liberator. Tanks are inching on up, though, and that means a lot of the production of Mulebot will be compromised. Mulebot does have +1 attack on its Marines, so it'll get a little more damage prior to dying. As Zig-Spudde just continues to rally out more Marines to reinforce its cause. Liberators are set up. It's a very, very slow push from Zig-Spudde. Mulebot says time to abandon ship as it just floats its orbital command out of there. And these Marines will not be able to easily engage into this. It's like that was combat shield or concussive shell that got shut down there. That's unfortunate for Mulebot. The red Terran is going for style points, though, as we get a Thor on the way. The economy is still good for Mulebot, definitely better than that of Zig-Spudde. And we have yet to see any long-distance mining, yet to see any expanding from Zig-Spudde, so the only time that I think that would happen is when this base is completely out of minerals. Maybe the bot author didn't even get that far with programming. So SCVs en masse do try and transfer for Mulebot. That's quite a massacre. These tanks are shelling away and inching forward from Zig-Spudde. So it's got like... Zig-Spudde seems to be the definition of slow and steady in this game. Like, it's not glitching out and not moving forward. It's just doing it in a very slow manner. Now, more of these Marines are getting up the ramp. Liberators sieging on up. More tanks getting sieged on up. And a Liberator comes from behind for Mulebot. That dies. This other orbital command did land back here. But Mulebot still has to kill a very, very large army of its opponent. And I have no idea how this game's going to end. I imagine that, like, Zig-Spudde will eventually run out of steam. Like, these mineral patches do not have much left at all. And once we reach that point, every unit dead is not being replaced. It's got a whopping 50 Marines, which is no joke. And they are putting out lots of damage. One Thor comes in for Mulebot. Looks like it almost takes down a tank. Not quite. I think it died before it got the final shot off there. +2 attack finishes up for Mulebot's Marines. I'm not sure how much that's going to help them, but we do have Zig-Spudde pushing into the main base. The mining at this base is being denied. That's quite unfortunate for Mulebot, which is now building a new eBay. There's also a fusion core on the way. So maybe we'll get a battle cruiser at some point. A tank is coming on in for Mulebot. That eats a shot. It tries to get set up on the low ground, but then dies promptly. Another Thor is being built as well. Zig-Spudde has some Marines find this base. This is just such a slow and steady push by Zig-Spudde. But by golly, it's slowly killing Mulebot. And if it can clear out this main base and then head east, I mean, those bases may fall fairly quickly. Zig-Spudde getting very, very close to running out of minerals, so that Marine trickle may soon dry up. A Liberator is sieging up for Mulebot, getting some nice work done. One Liberator is going to shoot at this Liberator. Let's see if it actually kills that off before the turret builds. I think the turret's going to finish. That's how pitiful Liberator anti-air is. But it does make it happen by killing off the SCV. This Liberator circle set up. The Liberator does go down. And now Zig-Spudde has got to find its next target. Mulebot's Marines are better than its, with +2 attack to no attack upgrades. Mulebot is losing a lot of SCVs as it tries to transfer them to this location. A couple tanks roll down against a Thor, so that's quite nice for Mulebot, being able to pick those off. There's now a Liberator sieged on up, kind of locking Zig-Spudde into its opponent's base. The Thor can actually do quite well against the Liberators. There's a Viking out. I think Mulebot may have done it. Kind of just out-expand the attack. And yeah, look at that. Thor gonna kill off what is the last Liberator, I think. And it just goes to show that having good behavior and redundancy in your bot, well, it can work. As Zig-Spudde is kind of trying to huddle around its one remaining siege tank. The tank may kill the Thor, but it really has ground the progress on this push to a halt. Mulebot's economy isn't great. It's only at 26 SCVs. It's actually completely mined out the upper right, so now it's seeking new ground. But Zig-Spudde doesn't have a lot more stuff coming out at this point. Liberator's shooting white-hot fire. We've got advanced ballistics on the way. Melting those few Marines that are trickling out for Zig-Spudde. And where'd all the SCVs go? Okay, the SCVs are moving for Zig-Spudde in what looks like it may be some long-distance mining, but it's all trying to get on the same patch. There we go, they do fan out. Will we get a command center lift? It doesn't seem like it, but at least Zig-Spudde does have behavior to go find some more money, so it's still trickling out more Marines, but it does seem to be kind of stuck at the top of this ramp, as it's just being prompted by new units constantly and not making it down here. The tank needs to get down there, but as the Marines follow the tank, but the tank is blocked by the Marines. Oh man, poor Zig-Spudde, suffering from success of having too many men with guns. Blocking the one tank, and I wonder if the tank dies, if it'll just go for it. Which could potentially be the undoing of Mulebot. If the tank dies, is there a world in which these Marines just go ham and do actually hunt down and kill Mulebot? This is one of the slower games I've ever cast of bots, I think, but it's like, it's got enough going on that you're like, is it gonna win? Will it win, or what? As Mulebot keeps losing SCVs, so it's trading out very poorly. There is one Marine shooting SCVs of Zig-Spudde, and now Zig-Spudde can actually produce a few more Marines, maybe like 1 or 2 Marines every trip by these SCVs, unless this Marine kills every single one of Zig-Spudde's workers. Now that would be unfortunate. I think a Marine popping out should save them, I imagine. And this tank is still just causing problems as Zig-Spudde is stuck in the main. I think we may be reaching the point of fast forwarding. Let's see, can a Marine save the SCVs? It does look like Mulebot is going to get the kill, pulling away the injured Marine. Meanwhile, this other man with gun keeps shooting these SCVs like fish in a barrel. There's even another Marine, so Mulebot's just sending out of units really is ridiculous. But it works. The one tank is still causing problems. However, Mulebot's supply is going up. I think Zig-Spudde has ran out of steam. And it just goes to show that having efficiency when it comes to trying to hunt down your opponent is very important. I think it's probably happened to everyone when they've played an RTS where they like try and kill someone, and then their opponent just builds a new base and just starts, basically says, we will rebuild, and then is fine. Yeah, and that is the army of Zig-Spudde gone. So Mulebot has weathered the storm. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this longer, wackier game, click that like button, subscribe to the channel, and consider becoming a YouTube member if you do want to support these casts. I do want to check, because there was a Chaos bot which liked to expand all over the place. Was that written by the author of Mulebot? I think it may have been. Yes, it was. So that definitely shows a little bit in Mulebot. But yeah, great game. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for tuning on in.